Hello viewers, hope you're doing well. Today in this video, I'm going to test the endpoints from the Postman, where we will see how the admin can post, view and the search books. With this, we will test the customer endpoints as well. So let's get started. As you can see, the app.js file in our Node.js application. So the path for our auth route that we have /API/auth/login. Let's navigate to the Postman. As you can see, the path of the endpoint that we have /API/auth/login. Currently, our Node.js application running locally on the port 4000. The mapping that we have post, and as you can see, the credentials of the admin in the form of a JSON. You can select the JSON type by clicking on the body, raw, and then JSON from the drop down. Now let's click on the send button to generate the JWT. Let me copy this JWT. Let's go to the second tab. As you can see, the URL of the endpoint to post the book by the admin, where we have a URL /API/admin/book mapping that we have post. Now I'm going to add the JWT token inside the authorization tab. Let me select here barrier token from the drop down. Now inside this input, let me add the JWT of the admin. After that, let's go to the body tab. Let me select here raw and then JSON. Now here I'm going to add the object where we have a request payload of the new book. So let me copy this object. I will provide these in the video description. You can check it out. Let me add this object. As you can see, the request payload where we have a title, author, description, price, genre, condition, edition, and the image URL. Before hitting the endpoint, let me remove the token. Now I'm going to click on the send button. As you can see, the status we got 401 unauthorized, the message that we have unauthorized missing token. Now let me add the token. Let's click on the send button. Now this time the status we got 201 created. With this, we are getting here the message that is a book created and the object of the body where we are getting the created book. Now after that, I'm going to test the endpoint to fetch all the books by the admin. So let's go to the third tab. As you can see, the URL that we have /API/admin/book mapping that we have get. Now I'm going to add the token inside the authorization tab. Let me select here barrier token. Let's click on the send button. As you can see, the status we got 200 OK. With this, we are getting here the array where we have a list of books. Now after that, I'm going to call the endpoint to get the book by ID. So let me copy the ID of the book. Let's go to the fourth tab. As you can see, the URL of the endpoint to get the book by ID that we have /API/admin/book/book ID. The mapping that we have get. Let me add the JWT inside the authorization tab. Let me get the JWT from the previous tab. Let me add here. Now I'm going to click on the send button. As you can see, the status we got 200 OK. With this, we are getting here the object of the book. Now I'm going to call the endpoint to update the book by the admin. Let's go to the fifth tab. As you can see, the URL of the API that we have /API/admin/book/book ID that for a update book mapping that we have put. Now inside the authorization tab, let me add the JWT. Let's click on the body tab, raw, and then JSON. So here I'm going to add the request payload to update a book. So let me copy the object from the post book request. Let me add here. Now I want to update the price only. So let me remove these. Let me set here the price like 8. Now let's click on the send button. As you can see, the status we got 200 OK. With this, we are getting here the message that is a book updated successfully, and we are getting the object of the book as well. I'm going to call the endpoint to delete a book by an admin. So let me copy the book ID. Let's go to the last tab. As you can see, the URL of the endpoint that we have /API/admin/book/book ID that for a delete book mapping that we have delete. Let me copy the token. Let me add inside the authorization tab of the delete request. Now let's click on the send button. As you can see, the status we got 200. Okay. With this, we are getting here the message that is a book deleted successfully. Now I'm going to fetch this book. Let me add here the ID. Let's click on the send button. Now this time the status we got 404 not found with the message book not found. The last endpoint for an admin that we have search a book. So let me duplicate this tab. The URL that we have /API/admin/book/query. Let me add the genre that we have like classics. Let me copy this. Let me add after the slash mapping that we have get. We have the token as well inside the authorization tab. Now let's click on the send button. Let me verify the path of the search book endpoint. So it will be a /API/admin/book/search/genre. Let me update the path that we have /API/admin/book/search/genre. Now let's click on the send button. As you can see, the status we got 200 OK, and inside the body we are getting an empty array. Let me update the query from classics to science fiction. Now let's click on the send button. Now this time, as you can see, we got a response where we have a book object with the genre science fiction. After the endpoints of the admin, I'm going to test the endpoint for a customer. So let me log in here the customer where we have credentials john@test.com and the password that we have John. Let's click on the send button. Let me copy this JWT. Let's go to the third tab. Let me update the JWT. After that, let me update the path that we have /API/customer/book that for fetch all books by a customer mapping that we have get. Now let's click on the send button. As you can see, the response we got. Let me copy the ID. Let's go to the fourth tab. Let me update here the ID. After that, I'm going to update the URL that we have /API/customer/book/book ID that for a fetch book by ID mapping that we have get. Let me replace here the token. Now let's click on the send button. As you can see, the response we got at the last. Let me call here the endpoint to search a book by genre for a customer. Let me update the JWT. After that, let me update the URL that we have /API/admin/book/search/query that we have genre. Now let's click on the send button. As you can see, the status we got 403 forbidden and the message that is a access forbidden. You do not have the correct role. Let me update the path that we have /API/customer/book/search/genre. Now let's click on the send button again. Now this time we got the response with the status 200 OK. So that's all for now from my side. If you have any confusion, you can do comment. Thanks for watching. Take care. Bye.